everyone. My name is Solmaz Tagavi with Tagavi Immigration Law, and I'm here in Washington, D.C. live on Facebook and TikTok to talk to you guys about a couple of things, including the Trump administration and Biden's new parole program. So please join me, add in your questions, and I'm happy to answer them. And Nabil, Logica, Athena, thank you for joining. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining me on this Monday evening. Paul, great to see everyone. So as you can see, Trump is leading in the polls, and it's an election year. We have an upcoming presidential election this November. There has been shifts recently, so President Biden, who's our current president, has now stepped down and he's endorsed Kamala Harris, who is our vice president. But the polls are showing that the Trump administration is leading. And what does that mean? If the Trump administration is leading, what does that mean for immigration law? Well, it means a lot of things. It means that there's a couple of policies that the Trump administration is going to make sure that they put through if they are elected. So if you watch the Republican National Committee, the RNC, they talked about immigrants coming through our southern border with diseases, people coming out of jail, mental institutions, and basically that the world is getting rid of their worst of the worst, and they're coming into the United States. That is the Trump administration's ideology about immigrants. The Trump administration did say that they are going to potentially give some benefits to those that came on student visas, for those that are seeking immigration status based off of merit. But for the most part, 100%, they are going to seal the southern border. Let me repeat this. The Trump administration, if elected, and they are now ahead in the polls, they will, number one, seal the southern border. They will seal the southern border. What does that mean? Well, people are allowed to break our civil immigration laws and raise the defense of asylum at the southern border and potentially win their case. So that is international law. Asylum law is international law. So although even the Biden administration has been pretty strict on that, Biden is going to be very strict on it. He's also, we can look to see from his last presidential term what he did for immigration. He sealed the border. He had what was colloquially known as the Muslim ban, so he made it not possible for people from certain countries, including a country that my family is from, Iran. They were unable to come into the United States, even on a green card. So it was very difficult for certain people from certain countries to come to the United States. So overall, immigration is going to be much more strict. Under Trump administration, immigration law is going to be much more strict. So with Trump leading the polls, this is what my recommendation to you as a 10-year immigration attorney, my recommendation to you is to call our office, set up a free case evaluation. You can also do a paid consultation with me, and we can speak together one-on-one for a full hour uninterrupted. And let's talk about your strategy. And if you qualify for something, you should apply for it now. Again, if you qualify for something in the world of immigration law, please apply now. The Biden administration back in February had released a policy, and they said that green card applications and citizenship applications, that they will process them under 6 months, and they have been accurate. They have been 100% accurate. I've had cases for green cards and citizenship that were processed in less than 6 months, one that was less than 4 months, and I think the most recent one was less than 3 months. So get your applications in now, especially if you have a marriage green card application or you're applying for a citizenship. Apply now, because now is the time and your case will be processed super fast and you'll probably get your green card without even an interview or get your citizenship before November. Now, if a Trump administration is elected in November, things will change. So even though the Biden administration will still be president from November and December, January will come the new president, which could potentially be the Trump administration. So the thing is, get this all done before November. Again, if you qualify for something, apply now, because the Biden administration is processing these cases in a quick and short period of time. They want people to be happy. They want immigrants to be happy. They want people to be able to vote. And they're doing it. I've seen it. We have cases in our office. You can look at our social media pages. We've had people approved in a really short period of time. So if you qualify for something, now is the time. Now is the time, guys. Please do not regret this decision. So this is the time. Give our office a call. If you've already spoken to us and you qualify for something, sign up. Let us get this done for you so you don't regret it come November. Now, I want to talk about another thing. And I see you guys have some questions here. Miriam, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Leslie, appreciate you. Damian. So that is my spiel about the potential of a Trump administration. As we know, again, Biden has stepped down. He's endorsed Kamala Harris, our current vice president. Let's see. Maybe we get energized. Maybe the polls change, but right now the polls are favoring Trump. So if you qualify for something, get it in now. Get your application in now. And now I'm going to move on to the Biden's parole program. What is the Biden's parole program? So Biden released a new program. Here's a short version of what it is. If you enter the country undocumented, you are currently undocumented, and you are either married to a U.S. citizen or you have a parent or step-parent who is a U.S. citizen, and you have been in the United States for 10 years, then you can apply for parole. And all of this has been announced. We have special links so that if you qualify, you can get on our list. We can start collecting information from you for the forms, start collecting documentation from you. My biggest tip is start collecting documents for these 10 years. So get a physical folder or electronic folder and go from 2024 all the way back to... Oh, I did not mean to do that.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know how to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Do you have an immigration question?
¿Hablas español?
Sí.
Yo hablo poquito.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Puedes quitar y podamos hablar después.
Ok.
Okay.
No problem.
Gracias, señor.
Sí.
Okay, so for the Biden parole program, I want you to start working on the 10 years. So for the 10 years, okay, so for the 10 years, you're going to go from 2024, 10 years back, which is 2014, and you're going to need evidence for every single year. So for every single year, you're going to get documents like taxes, receipts, even gym memberships, bills, things like that, that show that you have been in the United States for every single year, each year. Okay? And there's a lot of great questions here. I'm trying not to get distracted. I'm going to come back to all of your questions shortly. So if you qualify for this, we really want you to apply, and we want you to apply as soon as possible. Biden has released that they're accepting the applications in August, so we can get started now. Okay? So, first things first, Trump is leading the polls. Let's get your applications in now. Second thing that we discussed is Biden's parole program. Woo! We want you guys to apply for that because it's all there now, and we're ready to do that in August. Now for your questions. All right. So, fiancé visa. After arriving in the U.S., is it possible to get a green card? Yes. So, if you get a fiancé visa, it's approved by USCIS, sent to your consulate, you have an interview, you come into the United States with that fiancé visa, you need to get married within 90 days. When you get married, after the 90 days, you then can apply for your green card, and we can help you with that. All right. Ra'a says, if Trump wins, do you think overall processing times, especially employment-based, will be faster? My personal opinion is no. I think everything will slow down and everything will become more chaotic. Because previously, when Trump was president, everything was very, very slow. Yes, it was also during COVID, which made things, shut down, and it was a weird time for the country, so things slowed down. But he introduces a lot of various policies and a lot of changes, and those changes confuse applicants, their attorneys, and even the officers, and so they will mistakenly reject things and deny things, therefore making cases especially long. So no, I don't think that employment-based cases will speed up under a Trump administration. All right. Rebecca says, would my husband qualify for the parole in place? So this is the Biden parole in, or maybe you just mean parole in place if he has a 10-year ban. So there is a 3-year ban, 10-year ban, and a permanent bar. I'm not sure if you're talking about parole in place or Biden's program. But you definitely could talk to us, and then we could see, if, what your situation exactly is, and then we could help you. All right, we have Taluchi. Hi from Africa, Cameroon. Hello. Nice to see you. All right. And Faz, you had the same question. I just answered that question about the fiancé visa. Once you come in on your fiancé visa and get married, you then can apply for your green card. I would do that now. I would do that ASAP because they are processing them super quick. Esmeralda said, did they say the fee for that already? So for Biden's parole program, I don't think they released how much the filing fee is or the form, just the date in which they're going to start accepting. That's my understanding. Let's see. My asylum BIA appeal is administratively closed and VAWA approved. Can USCIS adjust? I am an arriving alien. No, you cannot adjust New York 04. You need to motion to reopen your case and terminate proceedings. So when a case is administratively closed, it's not closed completely with the court. So in order to adjust your status and get your green card on that VAWA, you need a motion to reopen and terminate. I would do that ASAP. Give us a call. Do a case evaluation with us. Why? Because trying to reopen and terminate a case may not exist in a Trump administration. I am like 90% plus sure that termination or prosecutorial discretion, like the ability to terminate your proceedings in immigration court, will not exist in a Trump administration. It did not exist previously. They took it away. So I'm going to say this in Spanish. This is for anyone in removal proceedings. Si usted quiera va a solicitar por la discreción de la fiscal, es para va a terminar su caso en el procedimiento de deportación, ahora es la tiempo, por medio de si Trump va a ganar en noviembre, él 100% va a quitar este beneficio. Y usted no puede va a cerrar su caso y no puede usar este beneficio. So, ahora es la tiempo, va a llamar a nosotros si usted cualifica o quiera ese beneficio para va a cerrar sus procedimientos de deportación. Okay. Let's see. filed for citizenship in March. How long is the process now? So I've gotten people processed in 4 months and 6 months for citizenship. So it's gone by really quickly for me. Every case is different, but for the most part, like I mentioned, the Biden administration has promised to process these cases within 6 months. So if you filed in March, I would say, depends where you are, but probably, hi Nermeen, probably you would get an approval soon. I would say so. Okay. Fiance green card. How long does it take to process to get your green card? I would have to look up exactly the times right now. However, again, if you apply now for your green card, they're going by really quickly. All right. Mama Dayunale EB2 NIW, how long? Okay, the EB2 National Interest Waiver is a 2-part process. First, you file the I-140 and the National Interest Waiver, and then you have to wait for it to be approved. That could be 6 to 8 months, or you could pay close to $3,000 for premium processing and get a response in 2 weeks. Once you do that, you have to capture your priority date, the date that you filed that NIW application, and you have to go to the visa bulletin, and it has to be current. Right now, the visa bulletin for EB2 is, I think, on March of last year, March 2023. So essentially, it's about a year and a half wait time. I am sure under a Trump administration, it will be longer, but every month you check the visa bulletin, it could either speed up or slow down. So generally, that is the process and how long it takes for EB2 NIW. All right. All right. Cosmo says, can I be your assistant? You can email us your resume. Sure. You can email us your resume. We'll take a look. I already got an I-130 already, but my lawyer being so lazy to even send the I-601. Okay. Is your I-130 approved? So if your family petition is approved, you then can file that 601, or you could look at the Biden's new law. Maybe you qualify for it. And then this is a great question by Benito Salinas. Can I apply for Biden's parole in place if I have a permanent bar? That is a good question. I am not sure. That is a great question. I would love to know the answer too, because that is a big one that people have not been able to resolve. If a fiance visa application is refused, does it mean it's not going to work? No. If your fiance visa application was refused, I would want to know why, and then I could give you advice. But what a lot of people do is get married. If they don't accept the nature of the fiance visa, then you could get married and then do a spousal green card application. Let's see. Admin process in Nairobi is taking too long. Okay. If you file a motion to reopen and terminate and they don't respond until Biden term. I'm not sure what you mean here, but you want to file a motion to reopen and terminate, and you want to do it as soon as possible and get Biden's administration to obviously give an answer. So you want to start there, right? Like, don't sit there and think about what happens if it doesn't happen. Start now, try to get it done, and if it doesn't happen, then you can come up with another strategy. But that's the main point to take away. How long does it take to get a green card after the interview? So after your USCIS interview, it should be pretty quick, because at the interview, they're going to give you a piece of paper that says, they're going to say recommended approval, recommended denial, or held for review. Held for review means that they want some other document from you. So it should be pretty quick. I would say like 4 to 6 weeks, if not shorter. Can BIA terminate proceedings? Yes, it's not the BIA that terminates proceedings, it's the prosecutor. So the prosecutor is DHS, Department of Homeland Security. So DHS will always be the prosecutor in your immigration case. Doesn't matter if you're in immigration court or you've appealed to the Board of Immigration Appeals. So if you want to reopen your case and terminate, you need to go back to that prosecutor's office. Doesn't matter if your case is, you know, what level it's at. Even BIA can work. All right. And let's see. Hi, how are you doing today? Bimle, good to see you. All right. How long does it take to process the U visa? The U visa can take 9 years. It's a very long time. So that, yes, a U visa is a path to citizenship. It's for victims of crimes, but it takes a very long time, up to 9 years. Ashley Marie, my boyfriend is undocumented. Should we get married before or after my law enforcement training? It has nothing to do with your law enforcement training. Your marriage has to be valid and you have to be able to prove it. Unfortunately, if you have not married your undocumented boyfriend now, you cannot take advantage of Biden's new law because you would have to have been married on the day it was announced in July. But you could still do a family petition and the 601A waiver, so that could be something. All of that takes a very long time, so I would say do not worry about graduation training, and if you want to get things done and it's a valid marriage, go ahead and get married. Okay, I got a speeding ticket. Sophia says, I got a speeding ticket, pled guilty, and paid a fine. How will this affect my N400? So if that is the only thing on your record, Sophia, you need to put it down and put in your application. So there are certain questions on the application where you need to check yes, like you've been cited because you've not been charged with a crime, but you've been cited. It's a question on the form. So you need to make sure you check yes for the correct questions on the form and that you list it. And if it's not criminal in nature, like a reckless driving, like in Virginia, there's a reckless driving charge, then you don't have to add in the information as far as the certified disposition. It doesn't hurt to do it. And for the most part, if it's just a regular old speeding ticket, as long as you disclose all the details and there's no other thing on, no other criminal record or traffic record, you should be fine for your citizenship. All right. Then Simpleton, before filing for I-130, I overstayed for a little over a month. Beside that, have been law compliant. Okay, well, I don't know what your I-130 is based off of. Was it based off of your spouse? If it's based off of your U.S. citizen spouse, then you overstaying on your visa is okay. It will be forgiven. But if it's an I-130 for any other type of relationship, that could be a problem, so we would have to discuss. And then you wrote, Simpleton, would I be safe to travel outside the U.S.? I have no idea what your current status is, so we need to know what your current status is. If you have an I-130 pending and that's it, you definitely cannot travel outside the U.S. because you have no status. So anyone traveling outside the U.S. needs to have an immigration status or an approved travel document. So either you have your green card and you're traveling, or a visa that allows multiple entries, or your pending status, like pending green card application, but you have an approved travel document and you're traveling on that. And then there's rules about how long you can be outside the U.S. Hi, Angel. Buenas tardes. All right. Advanced parole. So if you have advanced parole, maybe based off of a green card, then yes, the advanced parole is a travel document. All right, let's see. There's a lot of questions, guys. This is a great live. Love all the questions. Do you know how do I get out of admin processing? Well, admin processing can be very difficult to get out of. So there's a lot of things you can do to follow up, but we would have to discuss in detail your case. All right, we got some questions here on Facebook. Do dismissed cases affect my N400 application? Yes. A dismissed case, it depends on what kind of dismissed case. Like a deferred disposition. A deferred disposition is when you, let's say you were charged with a crime, but it was your first crime, so they allow you to do probation, and then you come back after a year, and then they see that you did probation, community service, did everything you were supposed to, and then they dismiss the case. That's called a deferred disposition. That is a conviction. That is a final conviction for immigration purposes. So you do need to put that on your N400 application. And Franklin wrote, should I wait for 5 years after the arrest? Well, it's going to depend. So I need to know what you were charged with, what was the suspended sentence and the active sentence, as well as if there was any supervised or unsupervised probation. So sometimes, like for example, a DUI, they will say, okay, it's your first DUI. We will give you 1 year with 1 year suspended if you keep the peace and good behavior for a period of 3 years. So you have to make sure that when you apply for citizenship, it is outside of that 3-year time period. They cannot adjudicate your case, and you cannot show good moral character for citizenship purposes if you are on unsupervised probation or you're on a suspended sentence. Now, I'm of the belief you don't have to wait a full 5 years to make sure that full 5 years before applying for citizenship is squeaky clean. You just need to make sure that you are not on any supervised probation, and that you're cleared from that, and at least there's some time that has gone by. I usually make a judgment call during our consultations about that, and then we want to offset it with some good, some documents that prove that you're a person of good moral character. So, examples of that could be taxes, proof that you donate blood, that you do volunteer work, things like that. All right, Franklin, but we would love to help you and, help answer your question in more detail. You could do a case evaluation, or you can do a consultation with me as well. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Michael says, I'm a recent college grad. Do you think Trump will give me a green card? Well, that's what he said. That's what he said. He said that anyone that has come to the U.S. on a student visa, that he is going to give them a green card. That's pretty good news in the immigration world. So I would love to see it. That would be great. That would be a big shocker. So we'll see. We'll see if he's elected, and we'll see if he's going to do something like that. All right. Let's see what other questions here. Now I get a lot of questions, so if I miss your question, I'm sorry. 10 years green card holder. So Sam Hot says, I'm a 10-year green card holder, can apply for a petition someone here in the U.S. on visitor visa. So a visitor visa is an independent application, so a person can independently apply for a visitor visa. You, as a green card holder, can write an invitation letter or be part of the reason why they're coming to the U.S. Like, for example, they're a family member and they're coming to your wedding or to spend Christmas with you. So those would be, some things that you could do to help them get that visitor visa. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have here? As a Canadian citizen and business owner, if I want to open a branch in the United States, so this is VIP. VIP, we love our Canadian neighbors, and if you have a business and want to open a new business in the United States, you could look into the E2 Treaty Investor Visa. Or if you want to open a second branch, we could then move you from one location to the US location on an L visa. So you have a couple of options there as a citizen of Canada and a business owner. Definitely give us a call. We love working with Canadians. All right. So Far says, when do you think EB3 India date will get current? Mine is April 2015. Well, everyone knows on the employment-based cases for India, they're extremely backlogged. So it is hard to say if it's going to catch up and when it's going to catch up. Definitely under a Trump administration, it's not going to go too much faster. If not, it'll go slower. All right, let's see. Let me see. Any other questions, guys? See a lot of questions about the U visa from El Salvador and Edwin. The U visa takes the whole process, takes 9 years. So en español, por la visa U, el tiempo proceso son 9 años. Es un camino de ciudadanía, pero es muy lenta. So es casi 9 años para recibir su green card. All right, so in English, the U visa, it's taking about 9 years, okay? Is it true, this is from Riyadh, is it true that you cannot work on a visitor visa? You cannot work on a visitor visa. A visitor visa is that you are coming to visit or for business, and definitely you cannot work. The government finds out, they will probably reject your next visa application, your next tourist visa application. All right. So Olili says, what year is being processed for U visa? So there is no, what year? I know that it takes about 55 to 56 months. And once you get it approved, you have to then show 3 years of physical presence. So if you add up pretty much 6 years case processing times plus the 3 years physical presence, it's about 9 years. So when people ask me how long does it take for a U visa, it's about 9 years. Okay. How long will it take for Biden's new law to get approved once you apply? That's a great question. I'm assuming that they're going to want to do things quickly so people will be happy and go vote, because these are people that are spouses and children of U.S. citizens, and those U.S. citizens could go vote. So I imagine pretty quickly. So I would get ready to roll with your 10 years, start working on the 10 years physical presence. And we're, stay tuned because we're going to roll everything out, and then we want to get started and get working with you. Would common law marriage be applicable on the new parole in Texas? No, common law marriage is not going to work. You need to have a civil union, get married at the courthouse by a judge or religious leader. Proxy marriages do not work either. How about work visa? Can you exist? Says Azubillion. Yes, we do all types of work visas. We'd be happy to help you. All right, how long does it take for fiance visa processing? Usually it takes about 6 months with USCIS. That kind of got a little bit longer during COVID, but I think it went back down to about 6 to 8 months, I would say maximum. Can I work while waiting for my work permit? The only time you can work is if you have a valid work permit, or you renewed your work permit before the last one expired and you qualify for auto extension. So auto extension means you can work on that previously expired work authorization, and yeah, we can let you know about that. Hi Jamie, nice to see you. Okay, Elja says, I'm in STEM OPT. What can I do to get a green card? So STEM OPT, you could get a job, have an employer petition for you. Yes, if you marry someone, if you have a US citizen girlfriend or boyfriend, you could get married and adjust your status. Can the government access our file from USCIS and find us in our home and deport us? No, not exactly. If USCIS denies your case, they then can refer your case to deportation proceedings, and then Department of Homeland Security can file what's called a notice to appear. And once they reject your case and they forward it to Department of Homeland Security, they're just going to see your address so they can file that notice to appear to initiate deportation proceedings. Deporting someone is not just a snap of a finger. It's a process. It involves the court. They can detain someone if you meet certain priorities. And usually that information is going to come from a criminal record or criminal database. USCIS is typically not sharing files or information aside from someone's address if they're rejected and referred to the immigration court. Okay? What happens if a German temporary citizen enter from the border illegally? I'm not sure what that means, a German temporary citizen. So if you enter the border without documentation, you will likely be placed in deportation proceedings and you need to raise a defense or otherwise get your case dismissed. All right, good evening, Sis Stanley's. Good evening. All right. Is the citizens test going to be harder? Oh, yes. So this is another thing I heard the Trump administration said that they were going to add additional questions to the citizenship test to make it harder. And there was some other things that they were going to do. Any updates for DACA for kids? No updates on DACA. Initial DACA applications are being accepted but not adjudicated yet. Unfortunately, it's tied up in the immigration court. So that wraps up. Eden, thank you for joining. Sunny, Alex, Nermeen, Edwin, Muhammad, thank you guys so much. These were wonderful questions. I just got another one. Do we need a lawyer when applying for citizenship? I say, of course, we know what to do. We can give you all the feedback and guide you throughout the whole process. And we'll make it a wonderful, stress-free process for you. Make sure nothing gets rejected and it gets accepted right in time before there's a possible change. Thank you so much, you guys. We love to see all of you guys on Facebook and TikTok joining and asking all these wonderful questions. It was so great to be here. I want to give a quick recap that Trump is leading in the polls. So my biggest push to you guys is to give us a call and do a free case evaluation or a paid consultation with me. Get a case, or if you have a case that you qualify for. Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you, Sunny. If you have a case that you qualify for, sign up now. Hi, Reina. Hire us now. Let's get this done. The Biden administration is pushing these cases through, and we are seeing especially green cards and citizenship cases being processed in under 6 months. So please, let's get this done. In case there is a Trump administration, he will seal the border. He will have very strict rules. He will change a lot of rules, which will make case processing times much longer. So let's try to avoid that by getting our cases done before a potential Trump administration. And if you qualify for Biden's new parole program because you're undocumented and married to a US citizen, have 10 years in the US, give us a call, get on our list, because in August we're going to start filing and we don't want you guys to miss out. Thank you so much for your questions. Join our newsletter. We put out a newsletter every month with information and videos. And if you don't already follow us and subscribe, definitely follow us and subscribe. We are everywhere: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube as well. And where do we call for a case evaluation? So our phone number is 804-408-3522. Also, there is a link in our bio on TikTok and a link on our website where you can click and go book your case evaluation. So the case evaluation is free. If you want to do a consultation with me, it is a paid consultation. No, Alex is not my personal number. That is the office number. Did I even graduate law school? Yes, I did. I have 3 degrees. I have an undergrad, master's, and a law degree. So we would love to work with you guys. And thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Thanks again. And spread the love.